Generation X. In general terms, those born between 1965 and 1980. Latchkey kids, independent, existentialism, modern philosophy focusing on personal experience, human ability, and responsibility in an otherwise meaningless universe. We're the cause. This is the effect. We're the Gen Existentialists. Welcome into the Gen Existentialists podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
And this is the show where we spin a wheel of over 500 different questions, and whatever pops up is what we talk about from a Gen X point of view and from just a basic nerd point of view and different things like that. Now, I had an idea for a topic for this episode, but I don't think we're going to do it. We may pocket it and kind of hit it later. So for anybody listening, be ready for an in-depth discussion of basic theology coming up. We're not going to do it this episode, but from that point of view, from a theological perspective, life after death, that kind of thing, if you have questions in that arena, send them in to us, and Bunny will give you the contact information here.
Yeah, if that sounds like something you would be interested in, or you have some other ideas, go ahead and drop me a line at morningpizzaradio@proton.me. Go ahead and address that to the Gen Existentialists. And if not, you can leave us a message at Mixcloud, where you found this, or you can get the app and listen to this show on the go and leave us a message that way too.
And
we
absolutely
reachable.
If you love us and adore us, by God, we'll take, comments and things like that. Hey, you guys are great. Stuff like that makes everything, doesn't make it worth it. I mean, we're going to do it one way or the other anyway. But, it's always nice to hear from folks.
Yeah, say hi.
So we are going to spin Mega Wheel the Magnificent and see what kind of a topic we come up with. And for those of you wondering, when I'm spinning Mega Wheel, obviously the sound effects you're hearing aren't real.
It's like the Price is Right. The big giant wheel. That's what it's just like that.
Yeah. Actually, sound effects are added in later. It's on my phone. I'm currently looking at my phone. And the topic we've got, and this is just bizarre. It's not even a question. It's just a statement. You didn't vet these at all.
I didn't
before you
vet
put them
anything. There's 500. I couldn't be bothered.
Favorite memories age 20 to 21.
Oh, okay. Favorite memories age 20 to 21. 21 is one of those years that supposedly everybody remembers because they become legal to drink.
Yeah, I don't have a clue
party
myself.
And stuff. Wow. Favorite memories 20 to 21. Well, that was the year that I worked on a film called Innocent Blood.
Innocent Blood?
Innocent Blood, starring Robert Loggia and Don Rickles.
Okay.
And some woman I can't remember.
This came up in a previous episode.
It did, yeah. I did a little work up in Pittsburgh with that and out in the Cleveland area.
That's right. You would have been in Peaburg.
Yeah, I would have,
at that time.
So that was... That's probably one of my most crystalline memories. I won't say it's like a favorite memory, but it's a memory. It's hard to remember really a distinction between 20 and 21.
Yeah.
I was young. I had all the confidence I could possibly have inside of me. I just felt like I was unstoppable back then. Did all sorts of things. Had a cute girlfriend. Had a lot of fun. I don't know. It all kind of blends together. Do you have anything that really sticks out from 20 to 21?
Age 20 to 21, my life was basically this. Get up in the morning, go to class. I was going to Northern Kentucky University, double majoring in English and philosophy. And at that point, 20 to 21, I had made the decision to double major. And I think all my general credits were out of the way, so the only classes I was taking were English and philosophy classes. So I was completely immersed in that. I was writing every day. Like, my notebooks from that time period, they're still over at my parents' house, and I'll have class notes on half the page, and I'll have poetry on the other side of the page as I'm writing while I'm taking notes. And I would get done at school, go home for a little bit, study, go to work. I was working at Record Alley. And if I didn't do that, I was going to band practice, because that would have been around the time I was in Feelin' Crystal. And so basically I was working 30 to 35 hours a week, going to school full time and playing in a band. And I was just busy all the time. Like you mentioned having a cute girlfriend. I didn't have time. I was just basically doing stuff. And at certain points it almost felt robotic because I didn't sleep a lot. I
don't think any of us did back then.
Yeah, I was always doing something, but those are all actually favorite memories because I was active. It's like you said, you felt invincible. You're doing stuff, and that's what I remember most about that time period is not being home a lot, but being out. Like if you happen to be listening to this and you were one of the people that used to come into Record Alley, you probably remember me with my books on the counter, books open, studying and reading and checking you out and, making change for you while I'm still reading a philosophy textbook there on the counter. So that was always entertaining. It was fun when people would come in and ask, "Oh, what you reading there?" "Oh, I'm reading some Marcus Aurelius." "What's that?" "Stoic philosophy. Would you like to discuss it?" "No, I want the new Madonna." "Okay, fine, you're lost." So yeah, that's age 20 to 21 for me. That would be where I was at.
Cool.
That was kind of a weird topic.
Yeah.
I think we're going to need to go through the list and kind of like vet things a little bit. And really, if you've got any ideas for shows, folks, those of you listening, throw them at us, because the couple times we've had that have been really entertaining.
Well, that's your chance to really do a deep dive. If you know us outside of this podcast, or you've known us in the past, or you want to get to know us in the future, here's a way to really drill into our brains and find out what makes them work. So.
See, I dream of a time like in the near future where we've got enough listeners that we can have like Gen X Con.
That's next week.
Next week? Okay, great. And like just have a meetup somewhere and have everybody come in and just set up mics on stage and just let people pepper us with the most insane questions and things.
Pepper us with silverware.
or tomatoes, grapes, whatever. Okay, so we have spun the wheel. I've got our next topic. And for you and I, this kind of fits. What are the most essential qualities you want in a friend?
The most essential qualities I want in a friend is openness. I want somebody who isn't afraid to share themselves. I want a sense of humor. That's huge to me in any relationship. You have to have a sense of humor, and you have to be able to look at the absurd and look at yourself in an absurd light as well. Honesty, of course, is always helpful. But really, I think openness and sense of humor are my two big ones. So.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Sense of humor, definitely, because if you can't laugh at yourself and other people, or find the humor in life in general, I can't deal with it. Integrity, openness, like you said, creativity.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Like yourself, I love being around creative people because it stirs me as well. And I think the stuff we're kind of saying is universal too. I don't think it would just be us. I think
maybe,
when anybody's looking for a friend, that openness and willingness to accept and a sense of humor, sense of the absurd, is always good, especially if you are a creative person, because it's very easy if you're creative to, as they say, disappear up your own arse sometimes. And to have friends that are able to look at something that you've done and poke fun at it and be able to like bring it down a notch. Like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. This is overboard. Let me go back and take another look at it.
It's also important if they lift.
Yeah.
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 I was thinking, like,
having
can you
a pickup
imagine
truck always helps.
Yeah. Can you imagine football bros talking about like what they look for in friendship? I mean, is it really openness and creativity, or is it something else?
Maybe
is it
not
something we're not for. We're not availed of.
Maybe not necessarily creativity, but I would think that openness, because everybody wants to be accepted, and whatever group you're with, whoever you identify with, I think that's got to be part of it. I know because I played sports for a little while in my youth, not a long time, but the sense of hazing, it's very much a part of that, and it annoyed the piss out of me. Like, okay, we all laugh at each other, we all have a good time. Like the one band I'm in right now, Tim, he and I have played in bands since college, and so we're able to take the piss out of each other in such a way that other people that are around us sometimes are like, are you guys mad at each other? Like, no, we've known each other for decades, man. That's a joke going back to like 1993. It's no big deal. And I think that's the essence of friendship too, like essential qualities, like somebody that knows you better than you know yourself, because we see ourselves in the mirror every day.
Yeah.
But having other people that can look at us and go, yeah, but here's where you really are, and kind of help us reset is a big deal.
Yeah, I think, well, just to add a little insight to this, I've been friends with Scott since fourth grade.
Fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
Do we get to tell the story?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
but
come on.
What I'd like to expand on this with is that, after my parents and my wife, I think Scott may be one of the few people that actually knows who I really am, like at a core level. He knows me better than I know myself sometimes. So, and that's a gift. I mean, it's not just the friendship is a gift, but having someone that knows you that well is really a rare thing, and that's a gift, especially as people start to drop away.
Yeah.
So,
and I would say the same. I mean, my parents, my wife Tracy, who's sitting here in the studio with us, your Jean's over there too. It's you and me, and Tim, I think probably for both of us. The fact that we have been friends for so long is a bit of an oddity, really. I know a lot of people that, their oldest friendship is, a few years. I've known these guys. We've been going out and doing this kind of stuff.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And people ask me, I'm like, well, yeah, I've known my best friend since fifth grade. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
How? Like, we just...
Well, and most of my friends in general, there are very few people that I consider close friends that I haven't known for at least 5 years or longer.
Yeah.
I'm kind of an all-in kind of guy when it comes to friendship. So
yeah, and there's such a huge difference between friendship and acquaintance.
It's like the mob.
Yeah.
Even this for life, baby.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's and that's good.
Yeah, I think it is.
That's a wonderful thing. So I think we should tell the story.
All right.
So we'll tell it from both points of view.
Yeah,
here.
You can tell me if I'm right or not.
Do you want to go first, or you want me to?
Of course, I'll go first.
Okay,
because
you go first.
My tale is the correct tale. So
the story of how Bunny and Scott met.
There's this new kid in class, and he's kind of a stuck-up jerk. He doesn't talk to people. He thinks he's a real hot shit. And, we tried to be friendly in that. And we, spoke and stuff. And our little group of friends, like my little group of friends, this is the odd man out. He's in the new school. And we tried to be friendly in that. And he was just super aloof, and I'm assuming this is because he was, probably a little shy, a little uncomfortable with being there. But we took it as an affront. That this kid
who's the we here?
This was like me and Jason Kinney, Jim Nelson, that whole crowd there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just sort of like, what's up with this kid? He's just not being friendly. He's not coming around. So they all encourage me, and I get a big blustery, gust up my butt, and I go up to him in the lunchroom, and I said, "We're forming the Scot Kaeff Haters Group." I let him know that just like blah, 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 blah. And this was sort of my way of it. Now boys, if you know boys get in fights and then they become best friends, or they say nasty things and they haze each other, as Scott mentioned earlier. There's a lot of hazing going on and a lot of goofing around. So this was like, well, this will bust his butt. If we say this, we'll see what he's really made of. If he punches me or whatever, I'll know that, this guy really is a jackass. And we probably wouldn't be friends with him anyway. So I go up and I say this absurd thing in the lunchroom, and he just stares at me in disbelief. And then it's like, hey, wait a minute. See, it broke the ice. And then we all started talking, and then everybody's fast friends, and it's wonderful. I mean, that's the way it goes.
So it was all intended as an icebreaker.
It was absolutely intended as an icebreaker. Do you think I have time to start clubs about all the people I don't like? Christ, man, I was a busy kid.
Okay, here's the other side of the coin. We moved to a new area, so I'm going to a new school for 5th grade. Start at school, and for the first couple weeks, I'm in this 5th grade class. Out of the blue one day, teacher comes in, tells me to move my desk out into the hall. This was Mr. Ritchie. Move your desk out into the hall. Why? You're going to be in a different class. Okay. Sure. Tomorrow when you come in, you go to the mobile unit outside. And I'm like, I didn't know what a mobile unit was. I had no clue. I was just starting to
That was a fancy name for a trailer.
Yeah, basically a trailer outside. So I ended up, instead of being in a 5th grade class, in this split 5th and 6th grade class for gifted students. So I'm in there. So the transition has already been thrown asunder. Things are, everything I had started to pile up, the systems I had started to set up in my head, people that I was talking to, gone. So I sit down, and in that class for the first couple days, one person talked to me, and that was Amy, because she sat right next to me, and she was the sweetest person ever. That was it. And I'm just like, there were other kids in there, but they were all like talking to each other, and it couldn't, like, how am I going to break into this? And the teacher in the class was just
she was
horrifying.
I'm going to call you out. Miss Carol Musney, you are a bitch. I'm just calling you out here. This is a shoot interview now.
Yeah, I will second that. It was a horrible class. But so we go to lunch that day, and I agree with most of what Bunny said leading up to this. He did not, however, say, we're forming the Scot Kaeff Haters Club. He walked up to me and said, I'm forming the Scot Kaeff Haters Club.
Did I really take all the credit for that?
You took all the credit for it. And I, at that point, had enough. He came up, said that this scrawny little red-haired kid that I'd seen in the class, hadn't said anything to me, hadn't tried to talk to me, comes up in the lunch line. I just want you to know I'm forming the Scot Kaeff Haters Club. Turns around and walks away. And I had enough. And I walked up to him and just said, why? And he didn't have an answer, and we just started talking, and we've been friends ever since.
See, there you go. Totally justified.
But see, the two sides of the coin, I mean, there's some big gaps there.
Yeah, apparently we just didn't meet on the same wavelength here. No.
There was something going on there.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, I mean, shortly thereafter, everybody you mentioned, Jim Nilsson, John Bailey, everybody like that, I mean, there weren't any enemies in that class.
Of course not.
Well, there were enemies in the 6th grade portion. There were some people over there that kind of
dorks, but
yeah.
I mean, we were all under the horrible thumb of that bitch music.
Yeah. Even if we had issues, we were united in our common dislike of the authority figure in the room.
She was wicked evil person.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
didn't she dress as a witch around Halloween?
It wouldn't surprise me. She's probably just letting it all hang out. I mean,
it was.
This is a woman who got so mad at one of the upperclassmen that she made him cry all the time because she'd yell at him all the time. And she would just dress people down in front of everyone.
Yeah,
there was no privacy with this bucktooth whore. She went and took the kid's desk and dumped it in front of everybody, and then made him get down on his hands and knees and pick it all up and clean it all up while she just
and
lorded over him.
And he just sat there weeping for like an hour,
it was
going
this
through
sad,
his papers and
quiet weeping of this fat kid. It was the most humiliating. I mean, he was a dork.
Well, I mean, granted, his desk
it was bad.
The one desk in the class that just had papers kind of spilling out of it.
Christ, keep the kid during recess and make him do it, you know,
yeah, she
or
didn't
keep
have
him
to
after
dump
class
it in the
and
middle
make
of
him
class.
No, no. And then it was like everybody watched the kid while he sits and
yeah,
this kind of sad weeping, you know.
Yeah,
and I mean that's the kind of person she was. She was
should not have been teaching children.
No, and the funny thing is, she ended up retiring from Taylor Mill. I found this out. Like she went the distance, as Cake said, or whoever sang that song.
We're going the distance.
Yeah, I mean, she went the whole time, and they're like, "Oh, we're proud to of her career." I'm like, dude,
yeah,
really?
That's not something.
Why am I not a diplomat or something? You know, why didn't you put me in a bad position and I'll just ride it all into retirement?
Yeah,
you know. Make me a tight end in a fucking professional football team. That's about how appropriate I would be in that situation. She was being a teacher.
I'll play devil's advocate for a moment because I tend to do that.
Sure.
We were kids.
Oh, yeah.
We did not take kindly to the way she spoke to us because that was the thing. I mean, you know you're kids at that point, but you also... If you have a little respect for me, I'm going to have a little respect for you.
Certainly, yeah.
And like you said, like dumping his desk showed an obvious disrespect for not just him, but all of us as students. So we're not going to respect you.
Oh, I'll tell you, every teacher I had at that elementary school, I absolutely adored.
Except
for her.
Yeah.
She was the only one I had a problem with. And I had many teachers there because we'd have it split up for like English or something. So I had lots of teachers there.
Miss Gray was fantastic.
Oh,
Miss Kaffenberger was fantastic. Miss Gurley was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Hoffman, loved her.
Yeah.
Even my first grade teacher, Miss Trimnell, she was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just...
a lot of great teachers at that school.
Flabbergasts me that somebody like Musney existed. I'm just calling names out. You got to call out the villains.
Hey.
You can't.
You know what? We call them.
We don't
like
make peace with evil.
Here.
We destroy it on this show. So.
Well, the thing is, it wouldn't surprise me if we got like emails and messages like, "I had her too, and it was horrible."
I hope she comes right out and wants to talk. We'll have her on. We'll have a 3-way conversation.
No, I'm not. I'll engineer it. I'll let you talk to her. I'm not having that.
Okay. I have an aside I'd like to take this discussion into because this is something we were just, me and my wife, who is sitting in the studio here with us, something we were discussing earlier was gifts for teachers. You know, like at Christmas time or at the when you're getting ready to leave, everybody got their teacher like gifts and stuff.
I didn't.
See, this was the thing.
Sometimes my mom did, and I had to bring them in.
That's the way it rolls.
Didn't.
See, that's the way it rolls. Now we were having this hilarious discussion. This must have been like 3rd grade or 4th grade or something, and my mom was like, "Oh, we can get her." It was like a wooden apple with said like #1 teacher or something, and I was like, "What?" She's a woman, Mom. I remember like having this like I just completely lost it. It was like, she's a woman. She doesn't want a wooden apple. She wants perfume or something nice, you know, blah. And I was just like freaked out where I was just I can't believe you don't realize these people are women. They need womany things, not plastic apples and
Bunny, there's a difference
magnets.
Between a woman and a teacher.
Apparently
Teachers
not in
are
my
different.
world.
Okay, so that's our question because I know we've got some of our friends are teachers. So like Corey Simmons, I'm calling you out. Have you gotten gifts? Do you get gifts? Does that still happen in school? And if it does, do you encourage it? Do you try to tell your students, look, I know we've got a holiday coming up. I don't need anything. I don't need any more wooden apples with a little worm painted on it that says "best teacher ever."
Yeah, the worm always has to have a mortar board on it or something. Too, so you know it's an actual teacher.
Or getting an like a ceramic apple with a mortar board on it. Yeah, nice.
I mean, I pressed her into getting bath beads. Because I was like,
yeah, so
get her something. Like she wouldn't take a bath. Get her something nice, you know. It's like,
So
But my parents were they were beside themselves, howling, laughing that I was having such a existential moment at
because
age
they
10,
weren't in the class
where I
with
was
you.
like,
They didn't get it.
Well, even Carol Musney, I hate to say that, it's this woman. She doesn't want a wooden apple. Maybe she got too many wooden apples in her past, and that's why she was such a bitch. I don't know.
Could be.
Slept on a pile of wooden apples at home like a nasty old dragon.
So as we wrap up this episode, this completely entertaining episode of the Gen Existentialists, for any of our teachers out there that are listening, give us your take on gifts. Do you enjoy getting gifts? Are they good? Are they bad? Do you discourage it? What's your take on the whole getting the teacher a Christmas gift kind of thing? And we get some responses. We'll track those on an upcoming episode.
I have a feeling there's a teacher out there who has a completely separate Christmas tree that's just full of like crappy teacher ornaments that they've gotten over the years.
Yeah, something like that. Awesome. This has been the Gen Existentialists. Thank you all for joining us. My name's Scott.
I'm Bunny.
Hope you have a good one, and we'll catch you next time.